Today in the gospel, Jesus is promising us the greatest thing that could ever help us with any of our problems and should be our go-to tool, even though obviously he's much more than a tool, and that's the Holy Spirit. As we know, Father Lobsinger mentioned in his Sunday homily that we're preparing to end the Easter season eventually with the great feast of Pentecost, the outpouring of the Holy Spirit. And we hear today that it's to our advantage that Jesus has gone away so that he could give us the Holy Spirit. Because there's a lot of problems in the world. So many problems. But we have to ask ourselves, do we use the most powerful thing at our disposal to help solve those problems? That is the Holy Spirit. And we see a bit of the power of the Holy Spirit very much at work in the first reading. Paul and Silas, they're evangelizing, they get imprisoned. They're so bad, apparently, that they get the innermost cell. I don't know if you noticed that. The innermost cell, as though they're the worst of all the prisoners. And what do? Well, they thank God they're allowed to suffer this for the Lord, and they sing hymns. They're praising the Lord. They're kind of praising God in the Holy Spirit. And listen to the power of this. An earthquake comes because of their prayer, their singing, their hymns. In other words, we're meant to see that there's power in praising God. There's power in the Holy Spirit. And if we don't call on that power, well, we might stay in the chains that we find ourselves in. But that's not what happened with St. Paul and Silas. Rather, this earthquake is so violent, we hear the foundations of the prison are shaken, and everyone's chains were unfastened, such that the jailer's about to give hope. He's about to end his own life because he knows he's in trouble. And yet, when he sees the life of St. Paul and Silas, the way that they're so at peace and kind and loving and praising God, he's convinced that they've got something he wants. They've got God. They've got the life of the Holy Spirit. And so it moves him as well to have his whole family baptized. The Holy Spirit is something that we might say that is perhaps undervalued in the church. If Jesus came, he might say, how come you didn't make more use of the Holy Spirit? So we ask that our hearts may be fully open to the Holy Spirit. And when we are in trouble, when we are in chains of any kind, fear, anxiety, doubt, when we have many little difficulties, the 1,001 pinpricks of each day, we need to remember that when we are in trouble, we can call on the Holy Spirit who is our advocate. When we are in trouble, we can call on the Holy Spirit who is our comforter. When we are in trouble, we can call on the Holy Spirit who leads us into all truth. And we can always do so with those mighty words, mightier than often people understand. Simple, come, Holy Spirit.